Everyone, in this video, I want to show how you can embed Cortex, specifically your Cherwell Archives, in ServiceNow. And I have to be honest, when I was building this out, it gave me serious MySpace flashbacks. Um, and this was my first time building anything on top of ServiceNow. It was kind of fun, kind of exciting, and I'm excited to be able to show it to you. Without further ado, let's just switch over to the demo screen. And of course, here we go. Here's ServiceNow. I'm on an incident, and specifically, I've created an incident. I've actually created a custom caller, John Allard, the person, the customer I've been demoing with for all of these series of demos. We've showed GLPI, we showed Halo. Um, Hopefully, I'll be able to show many other systems as well. But in this case, we're showing ServiceNow. So I had to create a caller with the right email address because that's how we're syncing up the information in new ITSM system and Cortex. And you can see all of this is fairly out of the box stuff. In fact, this ServiceNow instance is just my personal developer instance. Let's see if I can bump up the font size a little bit so you can see everything. So this is my personal developer instance. It's just an incident that I've created, and you've got your normal stuff here. Everything else is normal, but you might see this new tab. I've added Cortex Embed, and there we go. We see an iframe with Cortex embedded with all of John's incidents, right? Now, implementing this was a little bit tricky. It's not quite as straightforward as Halo, where you basically say, create me a tab with an iframe. Um, and but it's a little bit more straightforward than with GLPI. We actually had to create our own plugin. Um, so basically, the meat of it is this UI macro. And again, this is my first time building anything for ServiceNow. Um, this is probably not the only way to do this, but it's the way that made sense to me and the way that I could synthesize based on the examples that I found. Feel free to leave comments down below on how I could do this differently, how I could do this better potentially. But I'm actually going to take my face away so you can see the entire thing, and I'm going to walk you through this code. Um, Basically, this is a jelly. I've seen it referred to as a script. I've seen it referred to as a template, but it's jelly, and we basically have two things in here. One is the iframe, and one is an actual JavaScript script. Um, right. So the iframe, couple things going on. One, yes, I do have a default source in there. Realistically, I should probably just take that out. You do have to specify the width and the height because ServiceNow doesn't give the tab inherent width and height, and it doesn't give the iframe inherent width and height either. Width of 100% is fine. Height, it needs to be a specific height. Now, if you knew CSS, you can probably do some extra fancy stuff with this and try to make it taller or shorter depending on, the space on the form or something like that. In my case, I think giving it a height of 400 is more than sufficient. It's good enough. Uh, Other than that, the important thing is to give it an ID, and I gave it an ID of Cortex Embed Frame. Um, the particular name here doesn't really matter, though, as you can see, as I hover over it, it actually pops up right down here. And this should actually be uncommented. I was playing around with some stuff and commented that out. But you can see this gets referenced down here. This is basically how we refer to the particular iframe that we're using. Now, if we get into the script, there are a few things going on here. And JavaScript can get kind of squirrely with all of its callbacks and that sort of thing. And this is probably a little more on the It's like intermediate JavaScript. I don't know where it falls along the lines of ServiceNow um, expertise, if this is advanced ServiceNow or if this is relatively basic ServiceNow. Um, but one thing is we need to have this code run when the UI macro first gets loaded. So here I have add load event and then my function that should actually be run. And inside that function, what we do is we need to get a reference to the caller based on the caller ID. And this basically gets the caller ID from the current record and gets the related item, gets in this case, it's a caller, right? And then when that's successful, it calls this function right here, which if we have a caller, this is basically just error checking so we don't get console errors all over the place. If there's a caller, which hopefully there is, then pull out their email. This caller is a glide record, so we can access fields on it. And then we need to get a reference to the iframe, which again, here's that ID that we provided on the frame up here, and set its source, its src attribute, to the base URL of our Cortex. The endpoint is embed, and we need to specify object equals, in this case, we want to show incidents from Cortex, from Cherwell. And then the requester is the caller email that we pulled out of the glide record up here. Now, this goofiness, I don't know why it's necessary to escape the ampersand, not just once, but twice. Uh, I, in my opinion, I shouldn't have to escape this at all because this isn't run. Well, I mean, it is running, but I shouldn't have to think about this as the developer. I shouldn't have to think about the ampersands. But just escaping it once wasn't sufficient. If you escape it once, or if you don't escape it at all, you get a warning or an error message when you click update. It says unterminated HTML entity or something along those lines. It's a weird error message. It says something about requester, which is kind of wrong. But if you escape it once, if you just had this and you know take this out, then you can click the button. It looks like it goes through, but then when it submits, you get a blank screen and it says the exact same error message. So what I discovered is that you actually have to have it in there twice, and then during its processing, it actually escapes it a third time. So if you look up the actual XML for this record, it escaped a third time, and you can see that. I will try to make the what is it, the update set that I was using for this. I'll try to make that available somehow. Um, and you can see if you open that up, you see it escaped three times. So that was kind of screwy. But once you have this in place, now you have uh, your what is this? A UI macro, Cortex embed. And then you can create a formatter and add that formatter to a field. No, to a form. And let's see, what did I do to do this? So formatters, yeah. So formatters, I created a formatter, Cortex embed. Right, and the name of the formatter has to be the name of the UI macro, or sorry, the value for this field has to be the name of the UI macro .xml associated with a table. It's of type formatter. Give it a name. I gave it the same name. I don't know if that's recommended in the ServiceNow world. Maybe different naming. for different things. Like UI macro has UI macro underscore Cortex embed or something like that. And this could be called formatter underscore Cortex embed, something along those lines. But anyway, you have your formatter that you've defined. And then if we go to, let's go back to incidents. I guess I have it open up over here. Now we can configure, I think I used form design for this. They have a new form builder, which I couldn't quite figure out how to use. Yeah, so I used form design. And basically what I did was I used this button and added a new section, form section, which shows up as a tab, and just added a formatter to it. So that shows up down here. I just remove that. Now Cortex embed, can just add that. If I wanted to change uh, the name of the tab, I could of course do that and then just save it. All right, and now uh, reload form, and there we go, Cherwell Archives. So that's kind of beginning to end how I added this, how I added the Cortex archives into ServiceNow. Pretty cool. If you have any questions, or if you have another ITSM platform that you want to see your Cortex, your Cherwell archives, your Cortex uh, embed endpoint iframed into, let us know. We're happy to try it out. It's of course easiest if we can get access to an actual system so that we can play around with it. But at the very least, we can work with you on your system and see how to figure it out, go through the documentation, figure these things out. So if you have any questions about any of that, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Or you can send us an email, schedule time with us, or you can join our Discord server or our users group every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Links to all of that is down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.